I'm here with Paul Kermizian now. He's the owner and founder of Barcade. And Paul, I have to just tell you, this place is amazing. Like, I think every guy dreams of having a basement that looks like this. You know, you guys started this, was it 3.5 years ago?
Yeah, fall of 2004 we opened.
All right. Now, what was your first game? Like, where do you get all these games from?
We actually got most of these on eBay, which is kind of the best place to buy vintage arcade games. Through there we just started meeting all kinds of other people who collect and sell games, and there's like a whole
So yeah, now do you bring like new games in all the time?
We have like a core that we kind of keep in here. We change them up a little bit. There's some that are just really popular that we can't really move around, but we do change them up a little bit.
Now, do you have like a personal favorite game?
Probably Tapper.
Tapper?
Yeah.
I like that game a lot too. You know, I always thought it was root beer Tapper because I only played it at Chuck E. Cheese when I was a kid. I had no idea there's like an alcoholic version.
Yeah, that's the bar
Tapper.
version, and so you played the Chuck E. Cheese.
I feel there's like adult versions of every single game here. You know, it's like, oh, it's a Donkey Kong, but in this one he shoots heroin, or something like that. Things you have no idea about. Now, my personal favorite, I like Punch Out.
Yeah.
That's my personal favorite because I like the message of it.
What is that?
That a white American conquers all.
He's actually kind of a see-through American.
He's a green American in this version.
Green and see-through, yeah. Transparent.
What's like the holy grail of games? That that's one that you really want to see.
Well, you know, probably like one of the most like sought-after games is Tron, and we actually went. It took us a long time to find one. We finally found one, spent a lot of money on it, brought it in here, and nobody played it.
Really?
Yeah.
But was Tron out before the movie or after?
It was the game that was like in the movie that then they made it into a game.
And nobody played it at all?
What kind of sucks as a game?
Really?
Yeah, it's just kind of boring. And
So what do you do with it then? When the game, you just throw it in the dumpster out back? Into one of the
we just put it on the we just put it on the street and people pick through it, take all the parts. No, we put it. We have them all in storage. I mean, we rotate the games. They come in and out. Sometimes we change them up.
Yeah, what would you say is the most popular game?
Miss Pac-Man or Galaga. Q*bert's also really popular.
Q*bert's my personal favorite. I love that game.
Yeah?
That's a wonderful game.
Whoever designed it was definitely stoned on something, because some of these games, like the plot or whatever, just doesn't really make a lot of sense.
Do you think Q*bert has an existential crisis ever? Where now, I'll give you an example. Like if you look at Donkey Kong,
right.
Mario, he has a goal. His goal is to save his girlfriend there.
Right.
Okay. Q*bert just jumps on every single block, lighting every block, with no real ending in sight.
Yeah, and he's like chased by like a purple snake.
Yeah, like I wonder if he ever thinks to himself, you know, like, what am I doing this for? Why am I doing this? Why am I jumping on these lights while a snake chases after me?
If I were him, I'd be wondering probably the same thing.
I mean, I'm sure they go through the exact same things that we go through.
Video game characters?
Yeah.
Probably.
You know, where they question their purpose in life, question what they're doing. Yeah. Now, what's a great? Is it because you have beer here, and you know it's very rare when you get to play these games when you're drinking. What's like the best drunken game that you could play?
The best drunken game? Well, the thing that's great about these is that for us is like they get harder as the night goes on. I mean, the more you drink, the more difficult these games get, I think. I mean, Tapper's probably the best drunk game. I mean, because you're a bartender and you're serving.
Do you ever try to go
patrons.
like beer for beer with the people in Tapper?
I don't think you would last very long. I mean, you see those guys in that game, they like down the beer in one gulp.
Yeah, I think a fun game, but what I would do is I'd like to drink and play some of the racing games just to prove Mothers Against Drunk Driving wrong. Yeah,
I mean, that's an interesting idea. I didn't really even think about that we have a driving game in here. I guess you can live out that fantasy if that's your fantasy. Like, drive a Maserati drunk.
Now, have you ever thought about like, you know, expanding? I mean, this is a great place. Have you thought about expanding to like other areas or franchising, anything like that?
I mean, we've considered opening others. You know, we kind of just got settled here, so you know, we've only been here a few years. But you know, the idea seems to work. I mean, people like video games and they like beer, so. Well,
one thing to me, the real selling point here is that the games are all a quarter.
Yeah, well, it's old games at old prices.
Well, that's what no video game should ever go past a quarter. That's why these arcades are gone now.
That was very shocking. I remember the first time I saw a game that was 50 cents. I think it was Dragon's Lair.
Now, how much are games usually now? I haven't been in an arcade in a long time.
I haven't either. I think they're like, but I mean, every game now is like some virtual reality like station. You like get inside the game and stuff.
Well, I mean, that's one thing I realized with a lot of these older games is that there's a really big replay value to them. Where you look at some of these games that are new, and you play it, you beat it, and you're done. Never play it again. But these games, you know, I've been playing these games for 25 years here, and you don't get bored with it.
Yeah, well, they used to be. I mean, it was probably a smarter design back then. They didn't make the games never ended. So I mean, you're basically playing for score. So you just keep playing forever.
Like Rampage, for example. Rampage never ends.
You just keep going from city to city,
Yeah.
destroying them.
If you could honestly play Rampage for 25, 30 years, if you really, if you really wanted to, it never ends.
I guess they could potentially run out of cities and towns. But
I remember my friends and I being at a birthday party where we had a ton of quarters, and our plan was we were going to beat Rampage that day, and not realizing it's impossible.
how long did you play for?
Till the end of the party. Eventually, they're like, "All right, you guys have to leave. we only have this place for another hour. You have to go."
I wonder that. I mean, I think that kind of happens at the end of every night. You have to kind of shut that game off. Oh, that's the ice machine.
Well, I think we'll get around it. No problem. We'll just dub it, and we'll dub ourselves into funnier voices.
Oh, we didn't tell you that. We're dubbing you into Romanian.
That's fine.
Yeah, you're a vampire.
Oh, well, you know what? I speak Romanian, so I could just.
And I have a
could
wacky Chinese accent in this version of it.
Okay.
Oh, you have the Fraga. Well, that's one we can't use because it's really offensive. Now,
But someone was just telling me yesterday. Apparently, there's like this Don Rickles stand-up bit where he just kind of ripped on this guy because he was Chinese. I don't know if you've ever seen any like crazy
I
old
actually saw Don
Rickles
Rickles
stuff.
live, and it doesn't really change. I think he's the last guy who can get away with that.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Because he's a doddering old man, is really what it is. I mean, the same way that, you when you're young, you can't be racist. But when you're old, it somehow becomes adorable.
That's true.
Yeah, when your grandfather's racist, it's like, grandpa.
Yeah, racist and offensive is okay when you're old.
I know how you feel about the Chinese. We get it, yes. They're very sneaky. We know, okay. All right, we're getting away from what we have to do here, so let's go back to the interview. Just real quick, these games are like much harder than I remember.
They are very difficult.
I don't know if they've gotten harder. Maybe like the video game skills are deteriorating.
I think that the skills that it takes to be really good at video games are probably ones you lose pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. I don't know what your hand-eye coordination is probably.
What game are people shocked at how hard it is?
Zaxxon is pretty hard. Crystal Castles, people remember the cabinet and they're like, oh wow, Crystal Castles, and then they go play it and they don't even know. It doesn't make any sense. They're like a bear getting chased by trees, picking up diamonds, and they just kind of freak out.
What's the game that nobody knows, nobody's seeing, and they're just like, oh my god, it's the best game. How was this game not more popular? Is anything like that?
Pengo is actually really awesome. You're like a penguin that's pushing around like ice blocks in a maze. And
so he should have been a big star.
Yeah, I mean, there should have been like Pengo cartoon or Pengo stuffed animals.
That is how it was back in the day. If you had a popular arcade game, it became a cartoon.
Yeah, there were cartoons and board game. There was like a Q*bert board game, and there was like I think there was a Q*bert cartoon.
I remember the Q*bert cartoon. They went to high school in Qville, and I believe he had a girlfriend, Q*gert.
Really?
Yeah, it was his girlfriend, and the snake and all the bad guys, they were a biker gang.
Were they like the bullies at the school?
They were the bullies. Q*bert walked around. He has like varsity sweater on. He was like kind of the square, Richie Cunningham type.
Was it like a Smurfs type thing where all the extras were other Q*berts, or were there all kinds
They're
of?
all Q*berts. Yeah, they're all Q*berts that lived in this world, but they have the big noses and everything like that.
Yeah.
And
I'm surprised that didn't take off. It just become a huge hit.
Very short-lived, short-lived cartoon.
All right.
All right, I think we're good, right?
Yeah, I think that's really good.
Okay.
Did you get everything you wanted to hit?
I think so.